Right now, Canada, we're facing social and economic challenges on every front. And let's just say it outright. Mass immigration is one of the prime culprits behind it. People try to obfuscate and everything and say, oh, no, but that's just one thing. There's many others. Yes, there are. But the big one right now is mass immigration. We have 1.3 million people entered Canada just in 2023. Access to housing has hit crisis levels. Healthcare and educational institutions are bursting at the seams. Inflation, it's slamming every type of consumer good. And we've got ethnic-based divisions and conflicts on the rise throughout the country. You don't need to be an economist or a sociologist to realize that, sure, there's no magic bullet to address these challenges, but we can ease the immediate pressures by tapping the brakes on mass immigration. This isn't a matter of selfishness or intolerance, it's logistics. We just can't sustain these numbers. Unfortunately, the Trudeau government has no interest in curbing these immigration levels, much less cutting them. In fact, they keep doubling down. Minister of Immigration Marc Miller, he just announced a plan to quintuple the number of Gazan immigrants coming into Canada. Yeah, 5 times as many. In fact, he's going to say that they could bring the families, so it could be even higher than that. Now, we've got protests and anti-Semitic violence erupting around the nation. Why on earth do we want to import thousands more people from the world's biggest hotbed of violent anti-Jewish hatred? There's several Arab nations right near Gaza that could take in Gazan refugees if they wanted to, where they presumably would be able to culturally integrate more comfortably than they do within Canada. Is it unreasonable to politely ask those nations to step up instead of Canada? The Liberal government is now pushing legislation that's going to allow expats to automatically pass on their citizenship to children, even if the kids have never set foot in Canada. Now, you might remember the Lebanese issue years ago, maybe not, but Canada had a problem with citizens of convenience. They live abroad, but just pop back occasionally to drain the country of healthcare services and other such things. Or if war breaks out, they'll come here and hide, but then they go back. It's something of a parasitic approach to citizenship, and that policy hole was closed years ago, while the Trudeau government wants to open it back up. So just think how easy it'll be to find a doctor. It's so easy already, when the Canadian system is now on the hook to provide free care for thousands and thousands more kids born overseas who've never even been in Canada. And then we've got activists pushing for a misguided open border policy. And they've been openly demanding, not asking, demanding that Canada starts giving permanent resident status to illegal immigrants. Not talking about all immigrants, illegal immigrants.
That is why in 2019, we as the CLC and our affiliated unions launched a small pilot to give permanent residency to undocumented workers in the Greater Toronto Area. A broad regularization program means that people can now contribute to the fullest potential to Canada's economic and social future. We, the Canadian Labour Congress, call on the government to do what is right. Bring in regularization now.
Apparently, they don't think the 1.3 million who did legally enter a year are enough. These activists feel emboldened enough through the years of Trudeau's permissive immigration policies that they think they're going to get away with it. We can't dismiss their demands, as ridiculous as they sound. The Liberals might consider acquiescing to them. And just think of the volume and quality of new Canadians that we could gain once word gets out that all they have to do is step foot in the country, whether legally or not, and they'll just get full permanent resident status. It's abundantly clear that the Trudeau Liberals are desperately putting their political well-being ahead of the needs of Canadians. The only positive economic indicator the government can point to right now is growth in the gross GDP. And that's how they can claim the nation hasn't officially hit a recession. The only reason the GDP, though, has been growing is due to mass immigration, which creates activity and causes a housing boom. But the GDP per capita for Canadians has been plummeting due to this. And the entire country is getting poorer by the day as more people are splitting an economic pie that isn't growing as fast as the population is. Of even more concern, though, and this is the bigger one, than the Liberal obsession with mass immigration, is the deathly silence from Conservatives on the issue. If there's going to be any relief for Canadians to look forward to from this current terrible policies, it's expected to come from an incoming Conservative government. But if the Conservatives won't even talk about the issue today, will they find the courage to tackle the issue tomorrow? Every elected Conservative politician lives in dread of being called a racist. Critical discussion of immigration issues is sure to draw that label, even if race has nothing to do with it. Thus, I think part of the reluctance on the part of Poilievre's government to talk about it. But I got some bad news for the Conservative Party of Canada, though. They're going to be called racist no matter what they do. The Trudeau government is cornered and desperate. They'll play the race card without basis or hesitation, even when they got a comfortable lead. What makes the CPC think that staying silent on political issues will keep the Liberals from accusing them of racism? Guess what? The Liberals are also going to accuse them of wanting to ban abortion, wanting to roll back marriage rights for LGBTQ people, and wanting to steal candy from babies. That's the bedrock of every contemporary Liberal campaign technique. Don't worry about trying to pressure Liberal MPs to see reason on the immigration issue. They never will. That ship sailed. Citizens, though, must put pressure on the Conservatives on this issue, and the sooner the better. If they keep taking the path of what they see as the least resistance when it comes to immigration, the mass influx of people coming into Canada will continue unabated, even if we change governments. And at the rate it's going to crush this nation for generations to come.